Good morning, LBC Radio. My name is Corey Rosen, and you're listening to the Story Podcast. Today, I have a super awesome guest, but before we get into that, if you really like the show, please be sure to share, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube, share with all your friends, and if you really want to help us out, you can leave us a review on Facebook or rate us on Spotify, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That really helps us boost up our podcast in the rankings, so that way new and hopefully upcoming other musicians can find this podcast and gain some exposure through that. With all that said, I have on today Jess Zimmerman. The Jess Zimmerman Band is a country rock band formed in 2015 based in Southeastern PA. Jess's love for country music combined with rock influences of band members Joe Barszowski, Knobler, and Joe Mattis.
Lots of J's.
Creates a band with music that has a lasting impact on all that witness their show, with influences from musicians/artists like Halestorm, Underwood, Van Halen, Gaga, Benatar,
Yeah, you got it.
Benatar.
You got it. I know.
and McBride. The Jess Zimmerman Band is a sweet cocktail of country and rock music, adding in variety of genres, providing an exciting and entertaining live show. Jess Zimmerman was nominated and won the 2019 Best Female Vocalist in the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame Awards, and the Jess Zimmerman Band was awarded Best Country Band in 2021 at the CPMA's most recent award show. The band is currently up for 5 awards this year at the Nashville Josie Music Awards show, including Entertainer of the Year, Best Rock Singer, Album of the Year, Video of the Year, and Fans' Choice Awards. The band has written and recorded 3 records at Omni Sound Studios, Nashville, with more to come. The Jess Zimmerman Band also has won the first Citadel Palooza Rising Star contest and has been playing the Citadel Country Spirit USA Festival every year. The band has opened shows and shared the stage with a non-stop list of monumental artists such as Hunter Hayes, Little Big Town, Toby Keith, Trace Atkins, just to name a few. The Jess Zimmerman Band also works with Bob 94.9 FM iHeart Country Radio and has kicked off shows for Kane Brown, Jimmy Allen, High Valley, and Drew Baldridge. The band tours nationally and has performed at multiple NASCAR tracks for race fans while also honoring veterans and first responders along the way. Jess and the band have worked at helping to keep live country music alive with WITF, PBS Kids, and the American Music Theater. The band has performed and showcased in presenting Country Music, a film by Ken Burns, hosted at American Music Theater in 2019. You can be sure to follow all of her at all the links in the description. Jess, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday indeed.
Yes.
So tell me, what started music for you? When was it as a kid? Did you grab the old guitar in the closet or?
Not necessarily a guitar. Music, though, was always really embedded in my life as a kid. And my family is very musical on both sides, but mainly on my dad's side, very musically, just influenced. They've all, either played an instrument or we sang in church. And I always just loved music. It was a great escape for me. And my parents put me in, the piano lessons, and I wanted to do vocal lessons. And so I stuck with vocal lessons for, I still do them on and off, even as I'm older, because I think it's important. But it was just always something that was very instilled in my life as a kid, and I loved it. I mean, it wasn't like a professional realm as a kid. It was just, music was just something that I gravitated to and I felt comfortable in. So
at what point did you start playing around, or did you join a choir at church? I assume so.
Not necessarily a choir at church, but I did like our church always had like sing along things or like acting stuff and
PBS kids,
that kind of stuff. So I would do that. And then when I was in school, I did the choirs and the select choirs, and alongside of my voice lessons, I would start my recitals, and your vocal teacher would have those recitals every month or every so many months. And then I started doing talent shows because I wanted like a different experience, and I wanted something that I could see if I could win and see if I could get a prize or win some money or whatever. And so that was a great experience just in itself of learning how to sing in front of a crowd, how to entertain. And, each time you do that, obviously, I think my first one was at 8. So obviously at 8, I would hope that I'm a little bit different now of a performer than I was when I was 8. At the same time, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was great.
That's awesome. So at what point did you start writing your own music or get involved with the band?
I started writing my own music when I was very young as well. And I have like these awful cassette tapes of just me sitting in front of and pushing record with the cassette player and then like re-recording over top of it and then push play and then re-record. And I have some of them, but they're actually unfortunately so warped you can't really understand them anymore. So I'm kind of bummed because, maybe my hit song, my Grammy-winning song is one I wrote when I was 8. But until then, I didn't really do any crazy songwriting as a kid where I understood how to write a hook and a chorus and a verse or anything. I like to write. I was a big journal person and I still am. And it doesn't mean I journal every day. It's just when I feel like I have so many thoughts, there's so many things I need to get out. I journal it. It doesn't mean it comes out in a song. It's just I journal. Mm-hmm. So then as I got older and doing my own shows and singing along with my iPad and things like that, I wanted to sing with a band. So songwriting with a band didn't happen until I was in like my 20s. So it really wasn't a time that I got involved in songwriting young. It was more like I just had all these notes and I still have a bunch of random pieces of paper and it's a whole hot mess, but maybe there's a good song in there somewhere. So the band itself that I'm with now, we didn't start writing until maybe about 2014, and that was with Joe Barszowski. We started writing some songs and kind of seeing what that was like, feeling it out, because I was like, I'm kind of tired of singing other people's stuff. Right. Not that it's not great, not that their songs aren't cool. I just...
Got it.
Yeah, I want to sing something that I want to sing, and I want to say what I want to say, and if people like it, great. And if they don't, then turn it off. That's fine too. So we kind of started with that in a different band, and it didn't really get traction with that band. So I decided, I was like, you know what? I don't think this is for me. So I took a break, and I tried to go a different path in my career, in my work field, and that also was just like, I didn't have music. So in 2016, Joe Barszowski and I kind of stayed in contact. We were still writing original stuff, but I wasn't performing or anything. And he had said, I had this project. There's some people I wanted to do and work with. And he was like, hey, do you want to do this? And I was like, sure, let's see what happens. And then, so here we are almost, I would say almost 7 years, 7.5 years, 7 years. Yeah. 7 years later, 6.5 years later. And 3 records.
So did you ever go to college for any of this or?
No, I probably could have benefited from that. That just wasn't really in my path that I decided to take. I went to Votech for cosmetology, got my license, worked in a couple hair salons for a while. And then I decided in my break, I grew up on a dairy farm and I loved animals, agriculture, and horses were one of my favorites. Yeah, they're great. Lancaster County is like Lancaster County and cows. So I really enjoyed agriculture, and it's very rooted in my family. So I decided that I wanted to go into the vet world. So that's what I did during my break. I was getting ready to do some college, and I wanted to branch into that. And I was working at New Bolton Veterinary Hospital and all those stepping stones to get me where I needed to be. And at the same time, I was still lacking this big part of music. And it's really hard to sing after you've been mucking stalls or been in a barn all day long because your allergy, or at least for me, my allergies were raging. My body did not, and to this day still doesn't handle that well. And I had to accept that. So I was like, okay, if I want to sing and if I want to do this to the standpoint that I'm going to be able to be healthy and continue longevity, one of these has to give, and it can't be I can't have the best of both worlds right. Yeah, I can't have the best of both worlds right now. And so that's where I'm at. And, I continued then going on with the project in 2016. I left my job and I was like, my boss was great. She was like, hey, you can come back and clean horses' stalls, and there will always be sick horses and there will always be sick cows, and you can come back anytime. You can't come back to this opportunity to take on this program and do this program. It was the NASCAR program, actually, where we went around and played for veterans and race fans and first responders. So she was like, take this opportunity. If it doesn't work out, come back. There's always a horse stall at the muck. I was like, oh my God, that's true. I guess I should do that.
It sounds so wholesome, but also kind of,
yeah.
if you're not into it, at least.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's right. Okay. And so that was a big decide, because I didn't want to, I worked so hard to get that first foot in the door to that, veterinary agriculture, even just career in that. And I felt like I was kind of giving up. And then I was like, I had to focus on music, and it was good. It was good for a while.
That's good. And you make a great point about, because a lot of musicians have part-time jobs or other like day jobs. And there are some jobs that are not good for your voice or good for your body that will detriment your music singing.
Yep.
And that's something I didn't really know until my day job, I teach children how to swim.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
What I didn't know, though, is that the chlorine will really mess up your voice, and you won't be able to talk. At least, I think for the first, week or so, in the beginning of this podcast, I had no voice because of that, and I didn't know that chlorine really has an impact on your voice.
It does.
So now I've been taking throat coat and, honey and tea. And
you're welcome to the world of being someone who uses their vocals for work.
It's so funny because I used to. Because it's like the stereotype. It's like the cliche of the music. Everyone has their water bottle. Everyone has, I just need some honey and I need some tea and I'll be fine. And I need the humidifier in my throat and it'll be fine. And you're so silly. And then now I get it.
Yeah. I, it was not necessarily a ritual, but I have certain things I like to do and I like to have on hand. And I'm very weird about pools. I'm very weird about hot tubs. I don't like any of those things, mainly because of the chlorine just being in the air. And, I think if I didn't have a career that I'm trying to flourish in singing or my vocals, I wouldn't feel that way. And I do. As soon as it's allergy, when they're chopping the corn right now in Lancaster County, it's harvest season. It is a big time where tractors and combines and
pollen is everywhere.
Everything is shifting around because they're chopping the corn and they're getting ready to do harvest or they're filling trench, and that all gets in the air, and I notice it right away. And I live actually on a farm, like right next to a farm, so it's I can tell in my throat, and so yeah, I can relate to the chlorine thing. It is definitely different when you're not someone who uses their voice. You're like, oh, you don't need honey.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, I do.
This is my job.
Yeah.
I need it.
I love vocal rest days.
Yeah.
They're great.
You have to be a mime for a few days.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, why can't you talk?
You're
being rude.
You're being dramatic.
Yeah. No.
No.
I just sang for 5 hours. I don't want to talk to you.
And that's that too. It's I just sang for 3 hours. My voice is raw. Yeah. I dare you to sing for 3 hours. Try it right now. See how long you get.
Come back to me and tell me how your vocals feel. And I mean, I would recommend working yourself up to 3 hours.
Absolutely.
Don't just go in.
No.
Don't
do that.
Full speed ahead. You might hurt your vocal cords, especially if you don't have training. But
absolutely. So moving on into the NASCAR thing. How did you get into that? You said there was a program?
Yeah, so there was a program called Victory Weekend, and it was a Christian organization that started, and they were looking for entertainment to go alongside that. And our drummer, he was kind of the connection to that program, and he came to us and was like, "Hey, I'm looking for a band." Well, he actually came to Joe Barszowski, the guitar player, and he said, "Hey, I'm looking for a band. Would you want to play? Do you have a singer? What do you got?" And so Joe was like, "I have this singer, but she doesn't want to sing right now." And I have this bass player that I used to play with in a rock band. and maybe we could throw something together and see what sticks. So we did it, and there was actually a couple other singers, and the guys that are in my band now, they were the backing band for those other artists as well. So they had some really grueling stuff. They were not only playing for stuff that I was singing, they were playing for other artists, or they were playing a long time. So it was cool though. We got to play Miami, Dade, Florida. We got to go to Michigan, Watkins Glen, New York. We got to play in Bristol, Tennessee. We got to play at Dover. I'm trying to name all the tracks we were at. And we did it multiple times. So we created a really cool fan base there. NASCAR fans are dedicated. If anybody listening is a NASCAR fan, kudos to you. You are dedicated folks. And I think that is great. And we couldn't ask for better fans because they would stand out in the pouring down rain. As long as it wasn't thunderstorming, we still played. And they loved it. They just rocked. So it was cool. We got some really cool experiences out of that, and a lot of road travel. You learn a lot what it's like to be in a bus for 12 to 18 hours.
With people.
Yeah. You have to learn to like each other. And you learn everybody's little idiosyncrasies and ticks. And
all the buttons not to push or to push.
Yeah, you do. You just learn that because, at the end of the day, it's a job, and you spend more time with those people sometimes than I spend with my husband because you're working.
You're working, yeah. So I guess was that your first experience performing for like a really big crowd?
Yeah. I mean, I had sang the national anthem a couple of times at some ball games, and so there was, I think, one of the biggest ball games that I sang was at the Reading Phillies.
Okay.
So that was cool, and I think it was capped at 10,000. So that was I mean, I didn't know that at the time. If I would have known that there was 10,000 people there, I think I would have. It's already nerve-wracking saying the national anthem because it's
a hard song.
What a hard song, and it's such a meaningful song, and it is like everybody's watching you.
Everyone expects you to get it right.
Yeah, yep. And rightfully so. It's our national anthem.
Rightfully so. Yeah.
So at the same time, when I had found that out afterwards, one of the guys was like, "Hey, this was a while ago. I think they probably had bigger times since then." So at the time, it was one of their biggest nights, and he was like, "There was 10,000 people here," and I was like, "What? I don't even know close to 100 people. Right. I don't think at the time." So that was really cool. And then going into the NASCAR stuff, you have a fan base that's so wide. From Canada to wherever people may be coming from.
NASCAR in Canada.
Well, so when we played in Michigan, you're not far from Canada.
Gotcha.
So they just, they love NASCAR. They come on over and they rock out with us, and it was great. We have a lot of really awesome Canadian fans. So shout out to our Canadian fans.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And it really probably was a really good move because you're country rock and, who's
gosh.
Watching NASCAR?
Right.
All the country rock people.
All the country rock people. And the NASCAR fans, one of their other things that is very important to them is our men and women in uniform and our first responders, our veterans, and the good old American
God and country,
yeah, and I think that's a lot of what the roots of country music are, and I think it was a really nice segue for us as well to build a fan base and things that we also share passions about as well with our fans, because that's important.
So, having been on the road a lot, what are some of the tips and tricks that you would give to people who want to make a road trip or want to do a tour by themselves?
Oh man, that's big. Save your pennies.
Absolutely.
I think that's it. Save your pennies.
Budget.
Budget. You have to, and my business partner Joe, he's very business savvy, and so I have to give him a lot of credit in that because I feel like I have some business just from seeing that in my family. I have a lot of family members that are business owners. So I kind of have gravitated and learned off of that a little bit. But going together with Joe, it's been like, hey, okay, I'll sit down and we'll try and track a route. And you don't want to come out losing money. I mean, in anything. So, and especially in the music industry, you don't always.
It's so easy.
Yeah, it's so easy. And you have to spend money to make money. You have to buy your equipment.
Investing is important.
Investing is very important.
Tax write-offs are important too.
Yeah, and so like that's a whole nother world that I'm like just learning about. As far as branching into that, and sometimes it's a little scary because I invest a lot of money and a lot of things into something that I might not get return.
And if you do, it takes a long time sometimes
Yes.
to get that return.
Yeah. So I mean, even with our merchandise, that's a whole nother spectrum of business.
Absolutely.
We've invested a lot of money into merch, and we might not sell it all right away. So it's
You got to buy the merch first to sell it.
Yeah, and that's hard. So it takes a lot of sacrifice from everyone. So I think if you're gonna go out on the road, I think it would be smart to, one, budget yourself. Two, make sure that every person that you're working with and going on the road with is willing to sacrifice as much as you. Because
make sure everyone's on the same page. Yep.
Yeah, because if you guys are not on the same page,
It's gonna get miserable.
It gets miserable. It gets messy. It gets uncomfortable, and that doesn't create a great environment to be creative. It doesn't create a great environment to go out and then try and perform.
Yep, it translated into the performance. Yep.
Yeah, so I think you have to be 100% transparent, and that is, that would be my thing. Save money, be transparent, budget, and
Pre-pack food.
Yeah, pack your food. That's no joke.
Like legit, yeah.
I pack my own food. I feel like I'm a little like school kid getting ready to go to kindergarten, but I'm not gonna lie. I bring a cooler. Now I also have some food allergies, but nobody cares about that.
Right.
Nobody cares about those things. Aside of that, I have to do those things to make sure that I am able to eat when I'm on the road.
I'm sorry. It looks like our live stream went down.
Oh no. Technology.
Oh, no, technology.
It's all right. We can do a little interlude.
It went down 8 minutes ago. Or went down a long time ago, looks like.
All right. Well, we'll just have it picked up where people.
Yep. I will put a photo saying, whoops, sorry for the technical inch. And we'll
hey.
back.
I'll see maybe then if I can share it on my page while we're bringing it back up.
Yep. So let's see. Why does this happen to me?
Hey, technology is great.
When it works. Yeah.
Yes. Another tip, find someone who's technically savvy, and you might be okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back.
Okay. Sorry if you are just tuning in and something happened. I have got no idea what. I'm going to take my mouse all the way over here so that way it has no possibility of clicking anything that it might not. I don't know what happened. But we're going to continue.
It happens.
We were talking about road trip tips and tricks of budgeting and making sure you're transparent. And I tack onto that. Be not be confrontational, like in like a bad way.
Yes.
But like be willing to confront an issue.
Yes.
Don't let things simmer.
No, yeah, you can't do that. I think honestly maybe that's like, here's my little life lesson. You can't do that with anything in life.
No.
Whether it's business, relationship, family, you can't do that at all. Because at the end of the day, it's either going to harbor in you, or it's going to harbor in the other person, or it's going to harbor for everyone. And it just makes an uncomfortable environment. And I think it's just really important to be transparent, and, you work through those hard things and you grow from it. And everybody can grow from it. And even if it's something so little, I think being transparent. And I think at the end of the day, hopefully everybody you're working with wants the best.
Right.
Everybody wants the best outcome, and they want to.
Everyone wants to have fun.
Yeah,
right?
you want to have fun, and you want to do good things, and you want to create music, and you want to experience this ride that not a lot of people get to do.
Right.
And so I think in order to get to that point, you have to be able to be like, hey, can we talk about this? What can we do to make it better? What am I doing that maybe
set you off? Or
or like you just have to be able to be willing to take criticism and willing to give criticism, and also know that
you look down today. What's going on?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Something
Like
that.
you're like, you end up being a big family. And because you do spend so much time together, you have to be able to work through those things. Otherwise, it's just not going to work.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
It's just not going to.
So coming back to PA,
Yes.
you are. Oh, here's a question actually. How'd you get to Nashville and start recording in Nashville?
So oddly enough, and I'm still on the search for this paper to this day. When I was 16, I mapped out all my finances and all the things that I wanted to do, and at 16, whatever.
Life plan.
Yeah, and the studios I wanted to record at, and all of these things, and I don't even think that I had an actual like full song put together, but regardless, I had this notebook, and the first studio on there was Omni Sound Studio, and that was the first one. It was the 18 Division Street, 118 Division Street, whatever is the address, and I remember finding that after I had already gone to Nashville and recorded there, and never realized that that was the first place I wanted to go when I was 16. But I didn't get to go there until I was 24. I think I was 24. Oh my gosh, I don't remember. It's been a couple years now. But how we got there, our drummer, Joe Mattis, he had done a lot of work in Nashville. He's worked with a lot of different people in the music industry. And so he was like, hey, I know some people that work there. And it was after we had started the project with the Victory Weekend, and we had some original music and stuff. And he was like, hey, do you guys want me to connect you guys? I know you guys have some music. At first, the first record was kind of just my business partner, Joe Barszowski, him and I together, because we weren't sure where the band was going to go. So it was a group effort, and at the same time, it was still more of just a partnership, because the songs that we had worked on started primarily between Joe and I, and then we kind of filled them in with the band. And after the first record, it went well, and we were like, I was like, for business, we gotta keep going. We gotta write another record. We gotta keep doing this. So that was when Red came out, and we went back to Nashville and we did Red. And Red was one that we did kind of as a partnership with all four of us. And we were like, all right, if that goes well, then we'll work on another record. And I wanted it to be a full length album, because the first two were EPs.
Call it Blue.
Yeah, I know. I think people were expecting a color, but it wasn't. So we came out with, after 2020, we had a lot of downtime. We wrote our first full-length album, went to Nashville, recorded it, and that's when Breathe came out. And so now we're working on our fourth, but I can't tell you what the name of that is yet. So that'll be coming out hopefully in spring of summer 2023.
Any hints of what it's about, or what it entails, or
what it entails? Well, we're hoping it can be a complete full-length album. I don't ever want a song to go on an album just to go on an album, and I think that's important. So even if it's not considered a full length, I don't want that song to necessarily be on there for just to be on there, because time is money in the recording world. It's a very positive, happy, bright.
Good.
I think bright. It's a very bright album at this point. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Speaking of some of your songs, we have some of them lined up.
Yeah.
We have The Old Me. Tell me about that one.
Old Me. So that is from Breathe, and that one actually was our first music video. That one's nominated for Music Video of the Year at Josie's, so I'm so excited in Nashville. That was a really kind of a monumental open song for me when I came to being able to talk about mental health and the person that I felt like I used to be, and the person that I am today, and just have feeling like that old person, or that old me, the old me still haunts me, and it still comes back. And I feel like that we're always striving to be better. And if we just kind of forget about where we came from, it'll grab onto us and it'll haunt us. So that's where the old me came from. And the music video is cool. It has like a lot of metaphors, and there's all these like little things in the music video. If you sit and you watch it, like, there's water in the bathtub of one scene, and at the end there's another thing with like a big pool, and so like they all kind of tied in together. So I'm not going to give it away, so you go watch the music video.
With that said, this is The Old Me by the Jess Zimmerman Band.
still haunts me like a scene from a scary movie. Who will win this battle in me? It's one you cannot see. Time passes and I can see I don't like who I used to be. Sometimes it's hard to breathe, feels like eternity. If time heals everything, it's not so true with pain. Don't look at myself the same, and there's no one else to blame. Life flashes before my eyes, all good memories in disguise. My ghost might set me free, my heart at peace will be. The old me, it still haunts me like a scene from a scary movie. I look back and I can see every scar reopening. Oh, it hurts me. I'm my own worst enemy. Who will win this battle in me? I don't like who I used to be. My ghosts are holding me. I don't think I'll ever be free. This life is my ball and chain. I'm the only one to blame. You're me standing at the door. I can't take this anymore. The old me still haunts me like a scene from a scary movie. I look back and I can see every scar reopening. Oh, it hurts me. Inside these four walls, smell the burning memories. Let this fire take over me, take over me. Inside these four walls, smell the burning memories. Let this fire take over me. The old me still haunts me like a scene from a scary movie. I look back and I can see every scar reopening. Oh, it haunts me like a scene from a scary movie. I look back and I can see every scar reopening. Oh, it haunts me. I'm my own worst enemy. I'm my own worst enemy.
I really like that. That was awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We're proud of it. We're really proud of that song.
Yeah, that's going on right onto my Spotify playlist.
Yay!
Absolutely. It's always fun getting to hear like people like you're actually here, you made that, and then having to be able to like oh wow, it's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, between the guys and the studio, and we have a really awesome studio fiddle player and
Yeah, I was
piano
gonna say.
player. That's amazing. They're
They were
amazing.
amazing, yeah.
They're amazing. They are. I couldn't even dream of playing half of the way that some of them play down. Nashville is just pardon my, it's a freak city. There's so many talented people in Nashville, and so to be able to work with them and then have them bring bring their talents to what we're trying to create and bring it to life. It was like, that's our song.
Yeah, that's
you guys made it sound so cool. And it's cool. So we're proud of it. We're proud of all of our records, especially Breathe, and it's kind of been a good monumental record for us. So
you're right about Nashville. The one thing that surprised me when I went to Nashville for the first time last November was on what is it, Broadway?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
You'll walk 5 steps and you'll hear all this country, whatever, and then 5 steps or even just walking across the street, it's rock. Or you walk across the street, it's hip hop. It's whatever it's going on. It's music everywhere.
It is everywhere. 10 a.m. to 3 a.m. It's almost, and we often talk about that. When we go to Nashville, we go there usually to work. So it's like we go there to do our records or PR or interview and just business connection, whatever. Though we try and plan a night that we can go out on Broadway or we'll go down to the writers' rounds. I prefer the writer rounds just because it's a little more.
What's the writer round?
A writer round is where multiple songwriters will sit and do like kind of a showcase, and then they'll start and do like kind of like counterclockwise. Like one writer will sing and play a song he wrote, and then it'll go to the next one and the next one.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's really cool because you get to see songs right at their most vulnerable and kind of like where they were created at the core, and I like that. It's a little less touristy maybe than Broadway. Now, if you've never been to Broadway, we're going in October, actually a month from now, for the Josie Awards, and we're taking some family. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna go to Nashville. We're gonna do all the the Broadway things for them, and so they can experience it, because it is an experience. Though it's not really somewhere I go to really hang out.
Right. It's a good, if you're a music lover, it's a good thing to walk down once and then you go to the stuff like the ride around.
Yeah, it depends what you're into.
Yeah.
It's not, Broadway is a whole another ball game.
It is.
So I appreciate it for what it is and what they do there, and it's not really for me, but it is cool to see a couple times. Yeah.
So, what is the songwriting process for you? Do you just write based off experience? Do you write off things that happen to you? Is it collaborative, or?
I'd say it's a lot of our songs, at least that we have out now, are very collaborative. And there's not really any rhyme or reason. I've tried to make myself sit down and write every single day. And that is like write a song every day, and that is really, really hard. Songwriting is its craft in its own, and I'm a full believer in that. And that is not something I feel comfortable doing. So a lot of times it has to be a situation or something that it's like it struck me, like, oh, that's a song, or like not necessarily that's a song, like that's something I feel like I can write about. So I go on and do that, or my band members, they'll come and like, hey, I have these lyrics, can we try and put a guitar piece to it, or what do we think of this? Is this something we should move forward with? And so it is very collaborative on that part. A lot of the songs that we have will be a song that has started by individual. So like Joe B would have started, the guitar instrumental, and then he came to me, he's like, hey, I have this guitar instrumental. I'm like, okay, cool. I think I got some lyrics for that. Or like vice versa. And so there's not really any I don't think there's any system. Now in Nashville, I know they have, there's so many ways to write songs, and anywhere you write a song is I think any way you want to write it is fine.
Right.
However
Absolutely.
You can get to the end point.
And it's always changing.
Always changing. Yeah. And so there's no rhyme or reason, I think, for anything when it comes. It's no holds bar. Just however you want to write it. Just write it. Write your song.
Write One More Country.
Yeah, One More Country song. Yes. So our song, One More Country song, was kind of, it started out as kind of like a for lack of better words, a dig at country music. And I don't want to say like a dig, but it was like kind of all the cliches, like sitting in my pickup truck with my old bird dog, riding down a dirt road, like all the things.
Old green tractor.
Yeah, all the things you do in a country song, and all those things that we sing about are all things I've actually done, because I grew up on a farm. I lived those things. I line dance, and I love country music. So it was just kind of like, we want to make one more country song. like, and exactly what it is, like another song out there that's about the country, and it's one more country song. So yeah, that's what happened. That's how it happened, came about.
That's awesome. Have you ever heard the parody song? It's the worst country song of all time.
No, but I will
No?
when I go home.
Oh, it is hilarious. It's like I love something in traffic jams. And I love being in the city with a big old van or stuff like stupid stuff like that.
Yes, I will have to look that up because I'm sure it's probably
so
on point.
Funny. I love big cities and traffic jams. It is. It's like obviously this is what
Right.
you're gonna want to do if you want to push country a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's not country music if you like a big city. I have to say that.
No, but it's done in country style. You know, the voice and everything.
That's awesome.
It's really funny. But this, as opposed to that, is just another country song.
It is.
One
It's
country
just
song
one more country song.
by Jess Zimmerman Band.
Sitting in my pickup truck with my old bird dog, riding down a dirt road, driving by the riverside. Baby's riding shotgun, wearing tight blue jeans, hair blowing out the window. You know what that means? Playing it loud, straight to the crowd. I'm laying it down. It's one more country, singing it loud. I'm singing it proud. We're rocking this town. It's one more country song. Living in a small town in the US of A. High on summertime, rolling in the hay. Bonfire dancing every Saturday night. Bottoms up and a slow dance till the morning light. Playing it loud, straight to the crowd. I'm laying it down. It's one more country, singing it loud. I'm singing it proud. We're rocking this town. It's one more country song. Hey everybody, how about a little line dance? 5, 6, 7, 8. Two-step slide, two-step slide. One-quarter turn, rock and chill. Two-step slide, two-step slide. One-quarter turn, rock and chill. Playing it loud, straight to the crowd. I'm laying it down. It's one more country, singing it loud. I'm singing it proud. We're rocking this town. It's one more country song. Laying it loud, straight to the crowd. I'm rocking it. It's one more country, singing it loud, singing it loud, singing it proud. Rocking it. It's one more country song.
And that was one more country song. The Jess Zimmerman Band. We have another song of yours, the Straight Jacket.
Straight Jacket.
Tell me about that one.
So it is quite an interesting title. For the first time, we called it "I'll Be Okay" because I felt like Straight Jacket maybe was
Well, two.
abrasive.
Yeah.
And then the more that I thought about it, and even in our band conversation, we kept calling it Straight Jacket. And I'm like, why are we trying to change the song? Like not that it wants to be called Straight Jacket. Like we should just call it Straight Jacket. So we decided to call it that. And I'm glad that we did because I think it went out to be a song that kind of opened up the door to talk about mental health with people in a way where people kind of felt like they could embrace it.
Right.
And I wanted that for people, and I wanted that from that song. And that's kind of where that song came from, was like, the chorus is like, the straight jacket doesn't fit. And then it's like, God, can you take these chains from me? Like, almost like the straight jacket doesn't fit because you have God on your side. And at the same time, you're still fighting this battle.
Mm-hmm.
Because in life, just because we're in the world, we're not of the world. And so it's kind of just like all like circle around metaphor thing. And
Here, not yet.
yeah,
Kingdom.
absolutely. And so the straight jacket was kind of, it was my own struggle with mental health, and that I still struggle with, and my own journey through going and getting help and healing and recovery, and being impatient and all of those things. So I wanted someone to be able to say, like, if you wore a straitjacket, and those are very real things, it's okay, because you're not,
It doesn't define you.
It doesn't define you. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. I'm like, it's Monday. It's a little early. It doesn't define you, and that's okay. Sometimes I think we get caught up in it's been talked about a little bit better with mental health, but we get caught up in like, oh, mental health, we don't want to talk about it.
Right. It's like, I don't have time for my own mental health
right.
because I have to be the grind, or I
right,
have to
right.
do this. I can't focus on that because I have things to do, like
right.
real adult things. But mental health is an adult thing you got to take care of.
Absolutely. So I think the idea behind Straitjacket was like, I wanted to be like, if I come out here and we play this song and this with a band, and we play Straitjacket, like, I'm not even like, I'll wear a straitjacket. Like, I'll correlate it and be like, listen, like, even someone who stands up in front of people and sings or writes songs can struggle with something as scary as a straitjacket.
That's cool.
So that was kind of where it came from, and we decided to call it Straitjacket.
Did you ever wear a straight? Actually do it?
I did not. No. So thankfully, my diagnoses and things that I struggle with are not quite to that extreme.
No, I meant like on the stage. Like, because you had mentioned.
Not yet. No, not yet. I was like, oh, that's really transparent of you to ask that. I'm not afraid to be honest. No, I did not actually wear a straitjacket. Okay. Though I do. We have a show coming up in November, and we are going to be incorporating some kind of metaphoric things in the show. So I can't tell you what they are.
Because that would be a really cool concept thing. It's like, where start out the show with a straitjacket or you got like tape on your face or whatever, and someone rips it off and you start singing.
Yeah. Hey, look, you're like being creative already. Yeah. So, but those of you that wondered about that in itself, straitjacket is. I don't actually have one, and those people that have to use them for medical purposes, they have close spot to my heart. So
absolutely,
yeah.
And this is Straitjacket by the Jess Zimmerman Band. That was Straight Jacket by the Jess Zimmerman Band. What a song, man. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. It's a good rockin', like crank it up in your car and sing it at the top of your lungs song.
Absolutely. Where can people find you? You have any upcoming gigs around here? Or
We do. So we have a lot of shows for the rest of 2022, and then we're going to be going into 2023. So you can find all of our shows at jzband.org on Facebook and under the Jess Zimmerman Band. Our first headlining show, we're going to be opening, or we have a band opening for us, and it's Fast Lane. They're another local country band, which is cool. They're going to be part of the show with us, and we're excited. At Mickey's Black Box at Rock Lidditz on November 4th.
Very nice.
I'm so pumped for that. If you're familiar, anybody listening to Rock Lidditz, it's like, what? This place is amazing.
Yeah, that's the spot for.
Yeah, it's cool. So we're really excited that we got asked to be a part of that, and then not only that, to be like a headliner, like your first kind of hometown headliner ticketed gig.
Right.
And it's such a cool place. So.
And if you want to follow us, you can follow us anywhere. The Story, Corey Rosen, that's CoryRosen. We're ending out our radio time on the radio, but we are going to continue on Facebook Live. So be sure to stick around for that. If you're on the radio, we're going to get you guys back to the music. All right, so you have been nominated twice and won twice at the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame. Tell me what that was like.
That was really cool. So the first year the CPMAs happened, which if you guys are familiar with CPMA, you had Brandon Valentine on here. It's such an awesome organization and thing that they've started for local music. And so the first year I was nominated for Best Female Vocalist, and I won. So that was like amazing because it was like, one, obviously to be nominated as a vocalist is cool. And then to win is even like icing on the cake. And then I've actually been nominated. I was nominated last year for Best Female Vocalist, or in the second one, I'm nominated for that. And then this third one that they've had, coming up on 4 already. It'll be 4 years.
Yeah.
Four CPMAs already. But the third one we were nominated, and we also were nominated as Best Country Band, and we won Best Country Band. And so that was like, what? That was
right.
cool.
And like Central PA, where it's folk country all around.
Yeah, there's a lot of talented people, and there's a lot of people in the music industry doing what they love. And so regardless if it's country or not, there's a lot of people doing what they love. And I think that's it's really cool to be noticed and recognized for that. And I think that's what the CPMAs does.
It does really well.
Yeah, it does really well. And not only at a local level, they do it at a professional level. So like
Absolutely.
Bigger bands that have gone through or from Pennsylvania and being like, hey, like we want you to be recognized because you came from PA. And like, that's really cool. Like, you know,
Brandon Valentine was talking about reaching out to Taylor Swift.
Like, what is that?
Yeah, right. For those who don't know, Brandon Valentine is the president and founder of the CPMA Foundation.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so even being able to like reach out to like the Badleys or people like Taylor Swift,
Halestorm,
right.
Brett Michaels from Poison, the Pixies.
I think he's gonna be performing at.
Don't tell. Shh. Secrets.
I think he announced that actually.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
okay, I was like, I wasn't sure if that was something I was allowed to say or not.
But so I'm excited for it. And it's a red carpet experience too as well.
It is. You get to dress up.
You get to dress up and
everybody looks great.
Yeah, everyone looks great. It's a great network opportunity. Definitely couldn't shout them out more. Check it. I think that's coming this spring.
Yes, yeah. The fourth one is getting ready to. They're gonna get ready to drop the date and all that stuff for that. And yeah, I think it's so cool. We always look forward to it, and it breaks up the little bit of a winter lull I think we have in PA when we can't do our busy outside show festival schedules. And they have it on a Thursday night, which I think is great because a lot of people are gigging on Friday, Saturday.
That's so good. They thought
that through. Well done, guys.
Well done, absolutely. You've also been a part of working on keeping country music alive, live country music live.
Yeah.
What was that like? You've done a show or a movie, a film?
So we've actually done, so Ken Burns, he's a producer. He works with PBS, and he did a series on country music, and so we were asked to be a part of that, and we kind of were like a little segue into the premiere of it at American Music Theater, and it was really it was an honor. Not only that, because there are so many people in country music, like Loretta Lynn, and especially women in country music, have been such a monumental thing, and then to be part of that at a local level, and to be playing somewhere like the American Music Theater with PBS, it was just all of these really big things, and it kind of just we got asked to do it, and it was amazing. It was like, well, okay, yeah, we'll do it. We'll make it happen. And I think that also branched into us doing a little bit more work with PBS and WITF. We just did the WITF music interview and music session, which was cool. We got to go in their studio and we got to film, and they filmed 3 songs, and we got to talk, and it was a really nice highlight on the music that we've been working on and being recognized locally. And then I did a little segment with with PBS Kids, I'm sorry. I sang a little kids jingle, and it was on TV. And so that was neat, because I have like friends and family that have kids, and they were like, I saw you on PBS Kids. And I was like, I didn't realize how big it was going to be. Like, we put it together, and it didn't take us very long, and I didn't realize how big it was. I mean, how many people were actually going to see it. And I guess that was just me being maybe naive, but I was like, oh, you saw me on TV.
Like the public broadcast.
Yeah, you saw.
station.
Okay, yeah, I was on there. Yes, I was. So that, yeah, I don't know. I just maybe like didn't realize it was.
No, I mean, you don't. It's like, oh, it's a TV show, but then it's like, oh, it's PBS, which is like national.
Yeah, I had no
nationwide,
idea. Yeah, PBS Kids, and it was cool. So I that was like I was like, oh wow.
You talked about the women in the industry and playing with women. Has that ever been a challenge for you, being a woman in a country scene, or?
I think over time, yes and no. I think with really any business strategy, women have made it very far, and have been very monumental, and I think that's awesome. And I'm very glad for that. I think no, everybody that I work with and my band members are all men, and I think that it's really a cool place to be, not only as a woman but someone who's younger, and to be able to be in an atmosphere where I feel like I can make decisions. I feel like I can be respected in a business platform, and that has not always been easy, and that's okay. I think if it was easy, it wouldn't be as rewarding, and I think any woman would attest to that. And when it comes to the big spectrum of country music, country radio is hard. There is a lot of talk when it comes to country radio and country music of the ratio to men and women in country music. I do get discouraged when I see a festival and there are way more male
like
artists than
only
there are
women?
female. Yeah, and there's only one female, but when I see it the other way, or I see it at least an even playing field, I think that's great. So I think that there is room for improvement on that when it comes to the festivals, and there's a lot of great women out there playing music, and they got a lot to say. A lot of women that got a lot to say, and I think focusing and embracing that is something that I want to be a part of, and if I can be a force for that, I want to be. And I want to do it in a classy way, and I also don't want someone to be like, you're a woman, we'll see where you fit, and it's like, no, like I got a lot to say. Listen to me.
I am the Jess Zimmerman Band. This is all my accolades.
I don't want everyone to think just because I'm a woman I can't do something.
Right.
And I don't think that should be across the board for anything. Just because you are younger, you shouldn't be able to do something. Just because you grew up a certain place or had a certain lifestyle, or you have a history of certain, that you can't do something. I think,
there's always room to grow and room for
redemption. Exactly. There's room for redemption. When you go into the spiritual realm, the Lord uses all kinds of people and situations. So
absolutely.
Yeah. I don't need to go into Sunday sermon on here, but you know what I mean.
Right. And speaking about the faith, how does one keep a Christian faith in the music industry, and one that can be so non-Christian?
I think it's hard because at times I often feel that if I don't subject myself to the ways of the world, then I'm not going to quote make
Make
it.
it.
And that sometimes is hard, especially, I'm married, I'm Christian, and I feel so passionately that the Lord has given these opportunities and these blessings and these things in my life. And so to turn around and kind of fall into the way of the world, I think they would be taken away,
Mm.
or maybe or tainted. And I don't want to do that. I don't think that's what I'm called to do. And if that means that I only ever play to the people that listen or the people that come to my shows, then that's all I'm meant to do. If I'm meant to be on the CMAs or I'm meant to win a Grammy or play the Grand Ole Opry, I feel that the Lord will open those doors. I don't feel like I need to, I guess, quote, sell myself to do that. And I feel like if someone feels that I need to do that, then we probably don't need to work together.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, you and I are on different wavelengths when it comes to thinking that that's something that works. And that's not really my MO.
That's another thing within the music industry. Make sure have your principles.
Yeah, you gotta know what you stand for, and you have to know what you want to believe, and what you believe, and what you're willing, I guess, to quote compromise or sacrifice, and what you're not. And I will say that a lot of that for me stems from my faith, and a lot of that stems from how I grew up in my family, and growing up on a farm. You learn a lot of things that a lot of people sometimes don't get to learn. You learn a lot of responsibilities, and you learn a lot about life. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. And I think that has also helped mold me into the person that I am today. And my faith continues to do that.
So how does your faith interplay with your songwriting, if at all?
A lot of times, so especially with this new record, I'm really excited because I think a lot of times, when you write a song, I struggled for a while feeling like, because music is so powerful, I struggled feeling like if I wrote something and someone listened to it and then they took it the wrong way, or it made them feel some way that was maybe negative, that I was responsible for that. And I really struggled with that for a really long time. So writing a song and wanting it to come off in a way that was either positive or transparent, even if it was a negative thing, I wanted it to be transparent. I just wanted it to be like, this is life. And I think, you read the Bible, it's transparent about a lot of things that happened and a lot of things that didn't come out to be maybe the way that...
It was very unpretty things.
Yeah,
Yep.
they were very unpretty things that happened in there, and they were still used for good.
Yes.
So, I think that was, maybe the devil's way of being like, oh, you can't sing about that, or you can't write about that. So overcoming that and being able to say, I need to put my faith and I need to put these things in here and not be afraid of it. So, when I'm at shows and especially the other night, and I think this is what's awesome about the guys that I work with, there was a gentleman who came up and he said, he's like, hey, I have cancer, and he didn't get into it too much. And I saw my guitar player praying over him, and I'm like, that's amazing. That's not something where I was like, hey, you need to go pray for that guy. You know what I mean?
Did it, yeah.
He did it. And I think that is so cool. And I think that, that is what we're called. That's what, if anything, I'm making it, that's it
that's
for
it.
me. That's that person came to hear us because they love our music and what we're trying to share. And then we were able to open up that spiritual realm and hopefully, and I don't know if I'll ever see that guy again, or my guitar player will ever see that guy again. Regardless, though, I feel like we're able to bless him, hopefully in a positive way.
That's another thing for sure, is to make sure you're in the moment.
Yeah, that's hard sometimes.
It is hard sometimes. Sometimes you just want to be done and leave or whatever. But
yeah, I can struggle. I can relate to that. I can sometimes feel like, hey, I'm tapped out, or I'm peopled out, because believe it or not, I like to be alone.
I am an introvert too. Yeah,
I like to be alone. My husband can attest to that. I love people. I love interaction, and then I need time to recharge. Otherwise,
get cranky.
I don't become. I'm not firing on all the most positive cylinders, and it doesn't benefit anyone well, or myself. And you have to put those boundaries up too,
Yeah. By the way, we're gonna get into some general questions. If anybody watching has any questions that they'd like to ask Jess about her band, her career, etc., please be sure to comment them in the section below. So, first one, what is one of the best pieces of advice anyone has ever given you?
Oh man, I feel like there's like the Jeopardy music playing right now. Can we come back to that question?
We can come back to that question. We can circle back. Put a pin in it.
Yeah, okay. Oh man, that's a big one. Okay.
How about what is one of the funniest or worst things that ever happened to you on a gig?
One of the worst things that ever happened?
Or funniest.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I'm a transparent person, so I'm gonna be straight up. So there's two things. The first one, we had a show in Florida, and it was really unfortunate. We got done, and I couldn't find my cell phone. Someone either took it thinking it was theirs or stole it on purpose. And it was a long, long, long search until the next morning. And it just so happened there was a radio station next to us camping out. And I went over and I was like, hey, did you see my phone? Like, it has my picture and my boyfriend at the time. We were on the picture of the thing. Mm-hmm. Like, you had to have known it wasn't your phone if you picked it up. And he was like, no, though I was in the porta potty and I heard a phone ringing. And I literally, like, I think if someone would have saw my face, it probably went white. And I was like, no.
It's gone.
No. And believe it or not, it was we found my iPhone, and we managed to get my phone out of the porta potty.
Did you get a new phone? Or?
I did not. I couldn't afford a new phone at the time. I did not. So I kept that phone. Now, I will say we sanitized it. I kept it in rice for the entire 18-hour drive home. I sanitized it well, and I don't even know how long it was in there. I don't know any of that. It doesn't matter.
Right.
I just, until this day, I don't know who did it. I don't care. At the time, I didn't have a computer. All my work was on my phone. So I guess it was a really strange blessing in disguise that I found it.
That was the first one.
That was the first one. And then the second one, I've never had this happen, and I hope that I never that I have it happen again. I got sick at a venue. Oh, wow. And I really tried to make it through the whole show, and I did not. I had to go back behind stage in the middle of one of our songs and throw up, and that was very embarrassing.
So what did the other bandmates do?
They just kept playing. Now, we have a mic where you can talk in the mic and we only hear it. So it's like our inner system. And my husband, bless his heart, came running back and he was like talking to them. He's like, she's done. She can't do it. Because I really was trying. And he's like, she's done, guys. You're going to have, like, gotta call it.
End the set.
Yeah, the night, play the song out. And one of my old roommates was there, and she gave me her sweatshirt to put on, and I came out and I was like, hey guys, like I gotta go home. And it was so embarrassing. My dad was there, bless his heart. He was actually at that show, and he offered to drive me home, and he drove me home, dropped me off, drove all the way back to his house. So it was quite an event. I hope that never happens to anyone ever, though it's real life.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
At some point,
I'm a human.
You gotta call it.
I got sick at my show.
And that's a real thing. People will, you can't. That's another thing. You can't push yourself to death. Right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I exactly.
Not that you were dying or anything, but.
Well, no. I mean, it was it. And someone offered if I wanted to take nausea medicine, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I feel like whatever. If I'm going to do
it's gonna happen.
I should just do it because it does not want to be in there.
Right, exactly. There's a reason why you throw up.
I have a reason why this is happening. And I had actually already done that in the parking lot before the show, which was already embarrassing because there was security guards, and it was just like, oh my word, like I'm so embarrassed. But you do what you do, and it's just like you go to work, and I put my best foot forward, and everyone was great about it, And we have another show. We'll be back there, so they didn't kick me out. Right. I felt so bad, especially like the cleaning person. I was like, oh, crying, and that was probably one of my most embarrassing. And then the other one that was funny and gross all at the same time.
Yeah, right. It's something you look back and that's like, oh, that was funny. Oh my gosh,
you can't make it up.
Yeah, right. You can't make. No. Yeah, right.
You can't make it up. We wrote a song about it.
Did you really?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it's off our album
That's
Red.
funny.
It's called Bad Case. Every line in the song is a bad situation or a bad case of something nasty or gross. It's called Bad Case. So please go check it out. And if you have questions,
Now you know.
I just saw the comment, the porta potty, and it's in the song Bad Case, Carol. So go check out Bad Case. Listen to it.
So, we talked about. Oh, speaking of this, maybe kind of on the same line. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you've seen made, or that you yourself made, and how can we curb that for future musicians?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest mistakes that I made was not taking care of my mental health soon enough. I can't really say that anything, equated to my music career. Like, oh, I made a poor decision when it came to this or that. It was my personal life. I didn't take my mental health. And like, I have struggled since I was a child with mental health. And so not taking that seriously as an adult, and, in fairness, as a kid, my parents didn't really know, or maybe fully understand how to help. And so as I got older, since I started recognizing what was going on and those kind of things, I think I hated music for a long time, and that was great until it wasn't anymore.
Right.
So seeking medical help, seeking medication, the tools for healing and continuing that, I think, is really important. And if you struggle with anything, it doesn't have to be mental health. It can be any health in general. Make that a priority, because
Absolutely.
that will affect any health issue will affect everything.
I'll tell you how silly, quote unquote, it can get, even though it's really serious. There was a guy I had on, his bass player, his pinky was not able to work.
Oh,
right.
well, that's
And
very important.
that isn't very important. Very important for a bass player to have his left hand pinky, which is working, to work. So he thought, oh, maybe something in the phalange or the wrist or whatever. No, it was because he did this with his head and he was pinching a nerve.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And it's stuff that you would have never thought about,
Yes.
right? Because especially like your spine is one of the most important. If your back is hurting, get it checked out. Go to a chiropractor or do some physical therapy. Because if you're a musician as well, because your spine is it's what's keeping you up.
Yeah,
literally.
I know a lot of people that struggle with chronic illness, and it breaks my heart because it's like, it's so, it takes over so much of your life.
Yeah.
And so that would be a big piece of advice is if you can, and don't sign the first record deal you've been offered.
That's another good one. Yeah.
Yes. So those are like
get a lawyer.
My good life things, and then don't sign the first record label that you've been offered, and maybe don't even sign the second one.
Definitely like get a lawyer. It
doesn't always
for
mean
sure.
that it's the best thing. And it's really awesome. We've been really fortunate to have a record label offer us, and it wasn't what I thought was best, so we didn't do it.
Yeah.
But it was still cool.
Yeah, it's still cool. Yeah, read your terms and conditions.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it won't
Absolutely.
happen next time.
Exactly, and there's always more doors. There's always more
Right,
windows.
and if it's not gonna get opened, right, I don't need to throw myself through the door.
Exactly.
Yeah, to try and make it open.
Be patient as a
Yes.
musician, for sure. Speaking of patience, we talk about faith and all that stuff. What is worship to you?
Worship to me is definitely music, by myself.
By yourself. Okay.
By myself. And if I can be outside, I love to be outside. If I can be outside, that's a very big thing. But I love to be by myself for worship. I don't know why that is. I think it's maybe because music is so vulnerable, and then like worshiping my Savior is a very vulnerable thing. So like to be alone and doing that, I think is amazing. Now will say I went to a very big a spiritual revival down in Orlando, Florida a couple years ago. And I think the entire time, I have like goosebumps talking about it right now. The entire time was just a stadium singing of all different languages. And it was amazing. And I was like, if this is a millisecond glimpse of what heaven's going to be like of worship,
I want it.
whoo, send me now.
All
I'm
right.
ready. So I think that would definitely be I'm an animal person, so I think worship can be not just in music, but admiring his creation.
Singing songs with the squirrels.
Yeah, that's right. To my cows and my dogs and horses, just singing along.
What is one thing you know now that you wish you had known when you first started? In terms of effort, time, career?
Not everybody's going to be your friend, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Even the nice people that come up to you are
Yeah.
not going to be your friend.
Yeah, and that makes me really sad because I wish that was not the case. And just because the music industry can be a very moving and positive place, not everybody has your best interest. So just really trying to surround yourself with people who you trust, yeah, and who have the same moral compass, or at least are willing to respect where yours is. Yeah, even if they don't, like if you don't believe the way that I believe, like I'm not gonna treat you different. Though I would like the same respect that I have for you. So like that's kind of my MO with that.
Absolutely. So circling back.
Yeah, circling back. Okay, I have it. What was it? The best piece of advice?
Yeah.
So this is from, and it came to me right after we've moved on from the question.
Of course.
I know. My grandma, she is very important to me. She's 90. She's going to Nashville with us for the awards show. I'm pumped. And she's been a very big influence in my life as far as like music and just someone who's always had an open heart to everything. And my grandfather struggled with mental health, and he's no longer living. But one thing she would always say is, "Why worry when you can pray?" And like it's like the simplest thing, and you're like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
I am like, that's it? That's what you're going to tell? Like, I'm like, Grandma, what's your advice? 90 years. Come on. Give me a list. I'm ready. I'm going to write it down. She's like, why worry when you can pray? And I'm
That's
like.
That's the only thing she says, right?
That's it.
That's it.
And I'm like, what? And then the more you think about it, you're like, oh, yeah.
You're right.
And
the Bible talks about.
Why worry when you can pray?
Yeah. Paul talks about it. Cast your worries on the cross.
Yeah.
Right. And it's literally, people want to know why I am such a go with the flow person, how I have a lot of patience, and how I can do all this stuff and not be, or people who know me personally know that I have a lot of stress happening in the at least past 2 months, financial, whatever you have.
Life stuff,
just general life stuff. And people are always like, how do you deal with that? And also, like, you go on the podcast and just have a great time. Yes. It's like, well, it's because I don't worry about it, because I know that God has a plan, and I know that He feeds the birds without them worrying, so I'm not going to worry. I'm going to be fine. Right. God provides. Cast it all on the cross, and enjoy the now, right?
Right, yeah. No, I agree with that. And, I think even sometimes people get confused with the idea that if you are a believer or if you have faith, then, like, all your worries go away.
No.
And it's like, whoa.
No.
That's not a thing at all.
Or your life is going to be perfect.
Your life's going to be perfect, and that's not true. No.
Not true.
So I think just that, like, little bit of advice would be, why worry when you can pray? And then I followed it up with, like, my more, like, logical, like, why worry when you can pray? But, like, don't go, like, jump out in front of a train.
Of course, right. Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't think you're not going to get hurt. Like, you got to be, Lord also gave you a brain. So,
right.
You got to use it, and you got to be smart about your decisions, and you got to, you got to have a support system, and we're meant for community, and we're meant for support. And
yes.
So
that's another thing. We don't isolate yourself.
Right.
Granted, you might need to have that time to recharge, but
right.
We humans are meant to be
connected,
communal.
Yes.
Person to person. I know online Zoom has been really popular, but it's not the same.
I do not enjoy online Zoom.
I know. I hate it.
All of you guys from Facebook watching, I enjoy that you're watching. And I also would love to see you in person and give you a hug. I'm all about in person.
So where can people do that? See you in person and give you a hug?
So we have a lot of shows. We'd love for you guys to come to our shows. And we always say, like, welcome to the Jay-Z Band family. Because we really do. We value our fans. They're so supportive, and they're awesome. And we couldn't ask for better fans. I mean, we're doing something we love, and in return, they're coming to something that they love. And it's like this this big party. It's great, and it's a good time, and it's wholesome. And so any of our shows, I mean, please feel free, invite your friends, family. You know, I know a lot of people that are like, I brought so and so, it's their first time, and I always want to make sure that I recognize anybody that comes, because we appreciate that. Otherwise, I said the other night at our show, if no one came to our shows, we would just be a weird garage band. Like, we would just be playing music with our, like, in the garage.
We'd still be playing the music.
Yeah, no one would be
yeah.
no one would be listening to it, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're in a band, yeah," but like no one listens to it. Like, and that's, you know, we're still creating music, we're still gonna do our thing, and the fact that people come and they love it and they want to spend their hard-earned money on our music, like that's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, I just can't sometimes wrap my head around that. So it's really a blessing.
So make sure you find all the info. You can find it at jzband.org.
.org. Yep.
And all of those other links are in the description. You can find her Spotify. You can find her everywhere you look.
We're all over.
All over the place.
Hopefully.
And if you have enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like, follow, subscribe, share with your friends. We are coming up on our 100th episode, which will be a panel discussion for me and the future of this podcast, because I have some really big plans that I want to get a part of. So if you want to stay in tune for that, please be sure to follow us on Instagram or Facebook at facebook.com/the story Corey Rosen. That's CORYROSEN. We have some really big plans coming up this week. We have this weekend, Friday, we have Ryan Giesemann. He is a camera dude, a film dude,
very cool,
who has worked on several short films in the area, and he is a teacher here at the college. Really great dude, really cool stories. He's worked at church, so I'm really excited to see what all the things that, you know, he's got to talk about, because he's really
interesting.
He's articulate.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really.
That's cool.
Yes, it's a really fun dude. I'm excited to talk to him. But with all that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. We'll see you guys later.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Bye.